Okay, guys, welcome to today's webinar. I'm happy to go over some things with you. I'm just going to go and quickly send another quick text out to everybody. Just give me one moment. Here we go. And Ronnie, welcome back. I saw you jump in, and then now you're back in. How are you doing today?
Fine, sir.
Good, good. Yeah, it's gonna take a moment to get a couple more people on here, though. But Ronnie, how you doing, man? How's your business going? Or what are you working on?
Well, I've had some distractions, but we'll be getting back on track and everything. With other activities and family issues, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I need to get this done.
Yeah, sure. Well, what do you want to work on?
Well, I want to see your format for what you're doing, and I saw the subject, and it was very, very interesting. And it's sort of like what will help me, so to speak, finding the properties, things like that. I know a lot of it's in the education as far as services. So, hold on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, I agree. Yeah, like the education definitely talks about those things. And I'll be talking about some things that are in the education as well as some other things. Christian, a long time ago, he sent me or he gave me a paper that had like 101 different strategies to market, and the marketing goes for whether marketing the education as well as marketing for real estate, and so they kind of go hand in hand. And I thought that was I thought that it was pretty cool in terms of like what you could do, and hopefully what I talk about will help. And some things are general, some things will probably go on more specific. If you have any questions about any particular thing that we're going to go over today, you could always just jump in and ask questions. Okay, Ronnie?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, great. Sure. All right, so let me just go ahead and go into this. So here's a couple things. Oh, and I guess, before I kind of go into this here, Ronnie, one of the things I wanted to talk about to you guys is when it comes to, well, I guess when it comes to my story, when I first started, I wanted to get into real estate. I just kind of did, but the biggest thing was finding the right deals. I could go out there and talk to I feel like maybe the right people. But in terms of how to compose myself, how to make myself up to be and also how to protect, the biggest part was how to protect myself. How do I know if what I have is really a deal? That was those were some really big hurdles. But when I started, the things that I just did naturally was I went on to KSL. I don't know if everybody has access to go to KSL.com. That's more of a Utah, Idaho, I think even Arizona type of a way to go on. I don't know in your particular state if you have any type of a free online classifieds place, but that's where you want to go to look for real estate. What I did was I went to a place that says other real estate in the classifieds, and there are investors and wholesalers. I also put in some keywords on the, is that what I did first though? It was so long ago. I'm trying to remember. No, you know what? That's what I did after. So once I joined Renatus, that's one of the things that I did. And I found my first property through going through the KSL.com and looking in the classifieds and putting in some things. And it said, that an investor was actually selling one of his properties. And so I was able to pick it up that way. I can go into detail about how I picked up my first property later. But the thing is, that's kind of one thing that I did. But when I first started though, I was going to a lot of meetings and rubbing shoulders with other investors and networking, talking with people. I'd receive, receiving or making friendships, receiving name cards or business cards, as well as just kind of see how I can how either I can plug into their or how I can be a cog in their machine, or how they can be a cog in my machine, how I can look these up. But the biggest thing is that I did action steps as often as possible. I was extremely engaged, and I wanted to succeed. So, I mean, before we even kind of go into any of these strategies, one thing, this is a strategy that's also in the, I should probably put this in here. And I'm spelling it right. Mindset is key. So when it comes to doing this strategy, you have to be in the right mindset of like what you're trying to build for your family, because that juju or that energy that you give off permeates into what the Think and Grow Rich says, into the ether, and the ether will try to get that back to you. Try to get, what is that? Try to get you what you are desiring. So if you don't feel it in your heart, if you don't feel it in your mind, if you don't feel like what you're doing is either helping people, helping yourself, then if you're just going through the motions, then you might not see as much success. And then probably the only thing you got to do is the law of attrition, which means that you just got to, it's all just a numbers game. I feel like that, real estate to a big degree is a numbers game, but I've also seen those people who have done thousands and talked to thousands of people and, got maybe a couple things going. But I've also seen people who've only maybe made like 5 phone calls, 10 phone calls and found their first property. And I feel like that a big part of that is an attribute to their energy level and how much they are looking to get it. Because I kind of feel like there's a little bit of I don't know if it's kind of weird. It's kind of a spiritual aspect. I don't know if that's the right word. Kind of like to getting things going. I don't feel that's the one all thing, but I know that's kind of one thing that why one person can put up 100 signs and get 1 phone call, while another person could put up 20 signs and get like 5 phone calls. It's sometimes it's just like your energy and kind of what the quote unquote the universe sends back to you, because they hear your desire, they know who you are and what you're trying to do, and it tries to answer the call. So just kind of do a mind check on that one. So here's a couple things I'm going to tell you though, as we go about these things here. So successful real estate investors implement at least 5 to 7 marketing strategies, or at least finding strategies. And we'll go over all those strategies in a minute here. The best strategies are that you can implement. Now, all the strategies work. In fact, the more people you talk to, the more people you talk to, actual physical people you talk to, your success rate goes up. And now, the best strategies, though, the ones where it kind of works more for the attrition strategies, where you're just putting your name out there saying that you're trying to buy it, are systems that work for you even when you are asleep. And again, we'll go over those in the bottom. And also, just one of the things to remember is that cold market people, if you're working with cold market people, never heard of you before, on average, they need at least 7 touches before they decide to either make a call or decide to do business with you. So just doing one knock on the door, or just doing 1 note is not going to do the trick for most. Again, that's not every single person. Sometimes, you hear about a few people who go out over the weekend, put out 14 or 15 notes on a door, and all of a sudden they get 1 person who calls, and then they a week later they have a property. That's rare, although I can't say that it'll never happen, but it does happen sometimes. But most people need at least 7 touches. So 7 notes on the door is until they finally say, what does this guy want? Because they finally feel like that their needs are actually aligning with what you have to give. So here are some real estate strategies. I've tried many of these. We'll kind of go over these. And if anybody has any questions concerning any of these as we're going through it, please let me know. I don't know how long this is going to go. This might be a very short webinar. It might be, we might use the whole hour. It's kind of dictating on you. If in your questions, if I just go and read through these, it might not, it might not be very long. But here are a few here, and I wrote down 40 different finding ideas. Now there are, again, there's hundreds that you could go through. These are the ones that I've seen work. These are things that I've also kind of thought about what I've heard other people do. And I'll also kind of tell you some of the people who've done them and that you can talk to about how to do that a little bit more indirectly. So, of course, number one, I think a lot of people know these ones, though. Drive $4. Now, I think what I mean by that when it comes to driving $4 is you're driving through neighborhoods that you want to invest in. In fact, this is also kind of a one way when it comes to being able to write off your miles on your car. Always be driving $4 wherever you go. Maybe take different streets and go through and take note of houses that look derelict, like the shingles are curled up, that they could have used a roof repair in like 10 years ago. Long weeds in the front yard, boarded up windows, things like those. Look for those, write down the address. In fact, one thing you could probably even do is, if you had time, is put a note on the door. Like if you are actually driving $4, put a note. I mean, if you're saying, you know what, from this hour to this hour, I'm going to be driving $4. So you put a note on their door, knock on the neighbor's door, ask them if they know who owns that property, to say, listen, and introduce who you are and talk. So you kind of do two strategies in one. I don't know, is that like the 2 or 3 strategies? Driving $4 is 1, putting it on the door is 2, knocking on the neighbor's door, asking information about that property is 3, and then also asking for a referral is 4. Introducing yourself. So that's actually that's a pretty cool strategy. 4 birds, 1 stone. But yeah, driving $4, just drive down the street, take note of what you have, go home and analyze and see who is there. Now we can do a whole segment on driving $4 and how you can do that. But today is not about each particular. It's kind of a big mass thing. If anybody has questions about driving $4, you can ask that. Number 2, door knocking. You just go and knock on doors. In fact, this is one of the best strategies that you can do because nobody is really doing it. Actually, nobody's. Yeah. I don't like to have absolute answers, so I can't say nobody's doing it. I say almost nobody's doing it. And so that gets you right in front of the face. So when you get right in people's faces and let them know what you're doing, you have a better success rate than just sending out material to have them either read or not, because now they're talking to you. Okay. Another one that is extremely successful, or not extreme, but it is really successful, is social media. So kind of Facebook is kind of what I'm thinking. LinkedIn, maybe another, but Facebook, when it comes to this one over here, post real estate related experiences. And how you do that is you could do Facebook Lives on how you can, on telling people how you can, or what you're doing. You're right. Hey, I'm going to this property somebody else has. This is how he picked it up. Let me tell you about it. This is what he's making, or things like that. Or talk about or say, hey, I just helped out another person who's in the bad situation. Or hey, I'm working with a group or your team, and they're doing this. And so as you post your real estate stuff out, post stuff that you're working on, even if you don't have your own property, if you're telling them what you're doing, then that sets you up as a real estate investor. One of the biggest things that you could do, and in fact, I don't think I added it on here, is let people know that you're a real estate investor. So I'm still building this list. So like there was a list that had 400, that had had 101, and I'm at 40 here. So yeah, so let people know you're a real estate investor. That's kind of one of the biggest things I did. That's what, when I started, Christian Sandler told me to do. And it set me up as even now, like people that I told a couple of, 6 years ago, they know, they're saying, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, Tim, he's a real estate investor. He wants to help people who are in trouble. Let me talk to him, or let me reach out to him. So let people know what you do. If you don't let people know what you do and you just kind of hide under a rock, you're not going to be as successful. Maybe sometimes you don't feel successful, and you don't feel like you're at that point. What you need to do is get your mindset up to that level where you want to talk to people about what you do. And that can be done by various ways. Lots of either books that can help you kind of raise your mindset at that point. Come to real estate meetings, rub your shoulders with other people. Get your mind into a point where you want to talk to people about what you do because you love what you do. You want to help people. So that's definitely something you need to do. Okay, another way that you could do is create a Facebook page, like real estate investor page, kind of show what you're doing, as well as show what the projects that you're doing. Maybe ask some people to put some testimonials on there, things like that, to kind of build your rapport. And so if people have questions about who you are and you talk to people, say, oh yeah, go to my Facebook page. Here's what this is, and then they can take a look at that. Or even on here, one of these other ones is a website you can go to. You can actually physically reach out to friends on social media platforms, Facebook, Messenger, for example. And tell them what you do and just say, hey, you ask for their help. In fact, let me see if I can find it. I did that. Where are we at? Oh, let me give you something that you could actually say to them. This is exactly what I did, and I had actually some various people get back to me as well. Just give me a moment to find this. Come on, internet. See all in Messenger. I click that, right? Okay. Okay, guys, and for those of you joining on, thank you. Okay, let's scroll down. Come on. Here it is. Okay, here's one. Okay, so so if people you haven't talked to, whatever, you say, hey, so it's been a long time. Oh, wait, is this the one? Oh no, she reached out to me. Hold on, darn it. Yeah, she reached out to me. That's the one. Yeah, that's organic. So that's when you post stuff on Facebook, people will say, hey, Tim, are you in real estate business? Because she thought about me because she kind of follows me a little bit. And so I kind of tell her, and so we kind of struck up a conversation. It looks like she didn't get back to me, so I have to get back to her. But it's been since May. It's one bad thing that you need to do better than me, and that's follow up. Okay, here's one. Hey, Britt, it's been a while. How have you been? And then I just do something personal. Life's been treating you well. We need to catch up. Do you mind if you help me out with something? As you may know, I'm a real estate investor doing fix and flips, and I am being trained by a group of investors that specializes in helping people with major life problems like foreclosure, divorce, losing their job, death in the family, etc. Do you know anyone that is in that scenario, or even anyone that is just looking to sell a house that needs a little work? I can come in with a cash offer on their house to help them out in their bad situation. Now, usually you can get about a 10% response rate. I got more of a 40% response rate because I would write things that are more direct to them. And so that are more, I'm thinking that word. She didn't get back to me. More personal messages. So you write a little personal message, then kind of ask them that. And I'll actually put this for you guys right here. This is, so if you don't have access to this, this is my Google, I call this my group campaign. In my real estate side, group campaign. Okay, so in this, and I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but I'm going to put this, it's going to be in here under real estate finding ideas. So if you have access to this, if you don't, you can go on Christian's Facebook page, and you'll see the link for the Google Drive on here. and this is where you can find it. So I'll put that there for you, and it'll be inside of that finding thing, and I'll put it right here. There. So that's a good way that you can kind of post people, let them know what you're doing, and see if they can help you out. Now that is if your strategy is fix and flips. You could always change that if your strategy is something different than that. Then you're going to want to. Most people resonate with this because fix and flips is what most people do. It's what they watch on it's what they watch on HGTV. They hear it about from the Flip Brothers and all sorts of things. And so that's more on what people see as the face of what doing real estate is. So this kind of resonates a bit more with them. Yeah. And so here, another one, number 6. So reach out to friends on social media, ask them if they actually that. I put that in the wrong spot, didn't I? I'm screwing this up. I don't know why it's still blue. Okay, I'll fix it later. So, and then 3-foot rule, of course, we know, talk to people. Notes on doors targeted. Now, what that means is you picked up a list and you're putting notes on doors that you've already that you've filtered out. Another thing that also has worked for people is you canvas neighborhoods you want to focus on. So where people, some people have said they put like sandbag notes, like they have a note tied to a little thing with a sandbag or like a little sand in it, so that when they throw it, it easily goes to their it's easy to throw. So you just kind of go through and just throw it on every door in the neighborhood that you're trying to do to let them know what you're doing, what you're trying to find a house or something. Which is different than putting notes on doors. Go to networking events. That's not just exclusive to Renatus events. There's other events that go around the valley for people who do real estate. You can rub shoulders with other people, let them know what you do, and find wholesalers, maybe people who are wanting to partner with other people. Talk to them. Maybe you can buy those properties off of them or whatnot. Talk with your neighbors, and I don't mean like just like friends that you have, but I'm talking about neighbors in your neighborhood. Let them know what you do. As you talk with them, say, hey, how's it going, neighbor? What you working on? And so you tell them what you're working on. Ask them if they know people. Mailing postcards. That we can go into a bigger segment about that one as well. That's where you have your list of houses that you want to focus on, and you mail a postcard to them. It's about 35 cents a card to mail a postcard, and as well as kind of this stuff. So that's probably, you might spend about $25 a month on something like that if you're just focusing on a small list, of maybe 50. If you're going to do a lot more, it could be more. I've seen people spend thousands and thousands to even tens of thousands of dollars. The big shot investors, this is all they're doing is just mailing postcards. And well, at least that's one of the big things that they do. And they get response, but that just depends on if you want to put in that much money. If you're not trying to, most of these things in here, it shouldn't take too much, either zero money or some of your money. Just know that things that aren't going to cost you money are going to cost you time. So as long as you're willing to trade your time for that, then you can do it. If you have time, if you don't have time but you have some money, go with money. If you have some time, if you don't have time, then you have to be really creative. And if you don't have time and money, then you have to be more creative in doing some of these things. That maybe you don't have time to do it, but you got to fit these in and be really legitimate in what you're doing. Okay, so create partnerships with realtors. This is a really good one. This is one where you just go and call realtors. You can go online. There's lists everywhere. You can go to Zillow as you look for properties. Most likely you'll be talking to the realtors who have that property, and some of those realtors are actually also investors themselves, even though they're not a part of the community. So they kind of know what it's like to work with people, and so it's great to make partnerships with them. And when I mean partnerships, I mean let them know to think about you when it comes to when they have a property that they want to sell, and follow up with them. You could put them on a drip list and things like that. I'm kind of going into some other things here. But yeah, so that doesn't mean you have to partner with them on a deal, but maybe just say, you know what, throw me a bone and I'll list it with you when I sell it. That gives people, that will definitely make realtors love you. You can call management companies, because guess what? Management companies know who's getting evicted. This is property management companies, not just management companies. Sorry. Because property management companies have, they know which landlords are going through foreclosure, or like they're in their list, what tenants have left with a terrible, left with holes in the walls and things like that. They know of board landlords, or just tired landlords, things like that. So if you give them a call and just ask them their pricings, let them know that that they're looking for, they're scouting for management companies, and on top of that, how to, or if they know of any of those types of landlords, in any situations that you're also looking to pick up. And if you pick them up, that they'll keep them, they'll give them either a fee, a wholesale fee, and forwarding it to you, and as well as keep that property in their book of business. Sometimes that works. That was given to me by an investor friend who a few years ago. I've tried that a little bit. Let's see. The other one is, of course, the biggest thing. Now, this is the one that Hugh Zaretsky talks about, and that is just going and calling for sale by owners listings on whatever online platforms there are. Craigslist one, KSL, Zillow, FSBO.com, which means for sale by owner.com. Does anybody have any questions regarding, first of all, these few things that I've gone through already? And let's see, if you can come off mute and ask if you'd like. If not, that's totally fine. We can just continue. Give you about 10 seconds for if anybody has any questions. So I'm going through a lot of information, because the biggest thing is that this is mainly for you guys. I want to make sure that you have the I'm lost for words in the morning. What's going on? That you have the and the only word is coming out in Japanese, kakushin. That you have the confidence to go out there and look for properties, and in whichever ways, and that we're not just stuck on sticking to one. That we are going through multiple ways of finding properties. We're not just focusing on. So here we go. So I'll just continue then. Okay, so and then on the online platform, you can also create ads saying that you're looking for properties to do this, because sometimes people are looking for investors to buy their homes, and they just look up to see, well, who's willing to buy. And so if you put yourself out there to say, hey, I'm willing to buy, and you keep up with it, and you keep it going, and you be consistent, then that will generate leads, and I've generated leads that way as well. Okay, dial $4. What does that mean? That means calling these FSBO, these for sale by owner listings online. That means calling your friends, calling whichever list that you've had created or somebody created for you, and just call, and see what you can find. And another thing is that Renatus iOS is really good at doing, and that's creating email campaigns. And that's like, for example, these realtors. There's actually a thing that you could do where you could put them up on a drip campaign that Renatus iOS has already created. That you could just send them to say, hey, I was just thinking about you, and you don't have to do a single thing. They already have a drip list that will that's shown to help people, to help realtors kind of think of you, kind of the top of the mind, because it gets sent out like once a week or something like that, and kind of gives them some tips and tricks and things like that. I've seen some people receive some success. So I've also seen people actually physically put people on a email list, and they actually make their own. It's almost like blogging, where they make their own list or their own content, and they're putting on their kind of the things that they're working on, and they just send information. If you can put people on those, that's great, because then that keeps them, you at the top of their minds, which is what you want. You want people to think of you when they think real estate. You want people to think of you when they think a friend or themselves have a real estate need. So any way that you can put their names as many times as possible in front of people, the better. So email campaigns is something you want to look into. Another thing is sign up for wholesale lists. Just the easy way to do that is type in like wholesale if you're in Utah, wholesale Utah, and see what you find. You could try different different words and things like that, and look up what you can find. And most likely you'll be putting yourself up on like a Google form, or that it'll be, and then because they've got some things set up, and then you're either that or most likely you'll get a phone call from them like a day or two later, and they'll kind of ask about what you're looking for, so they know what to send you when things come to you. So I've done that, and I'm on like at least 6. And sometimes I get wholesale lists that I don't even know where they came from. I might even be like 8 or 10. But and I get like anywhere to at least 2 wholesale properties a day. Yes, most of them don't necessarily work, but that's one. Network with wholesalers. That goes with that works with going to networking events. Also, another thing that people may not even think about is network with attorneys. And it's not exclusive to just divorce and bankruptcy attorneys, but if you talk with attorneys, they are not allowed to profit from any of their what's the word? Any of their sorry guys, where is that word? You know what? I want to turn on my. Can't believe I didn't turn on my video yet. There we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So, so that with their clients, so they're not allowed to do that with their with a profit from their clients. And so when it comes to bankruptcy attorneys, so if they were to refer them to you, they're not really supposed to do that. But you can do tit for tat. So if like I know a bankruptcy attorney, and he's a really cool guy. He knows people who are going through that and has properties, and so. I tell him, you know what, if you send people who have distressed situations with who don't know what to do with their properties my way, I will send you people who have bankruptcy needs your way. And so, so it kind of works hand in hand, right? And so that's one thing that people sometimes don't even think about. As well as what most people know here, put out bandit signs. That is probably about 200 to 5. So about 1,000 signs is going to be roughly $250 to $500. And then also you need to get the stakes or the wire or the aluminum stands to go put it in. And that's one of the things that I did when I started, and I got hundreds of phone calls from them. And so that's one thing that you could do. Pull tab signs, I haven't seen this very much. I just thought I'd put this out there. Is when you put pull tab signs saying, hey, real estate investor, or looking for properties, and they pull it off and things like that. You could also put out those, if you go to like public billboards, you could also put up a sign saying, hey, we buy houses for cash, things like that. Because people see that all the time. People always need to buy groceries, like Smith's, Harmon's, wherever you want to. If they have a public board, think about that. And also, there's the business cards on the window. So, hey, we buy houses for cash, or whatever you want to. You can do that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't put that. Put a car. Drive around with a car magnet that shows that you have that. I've also done that, and I've actually got some phone calls, and it's generated actually more not phone calls, actually generated more conversations with people than anything. And so that's definitely one thing that's something to think of. Because people say, oh, well, what do you do? What do you mean you do? And all of a sudden, like you build some people who people from cold market to warm market, just like that, because you had a sign on your car. That's definitely something if nobody's doing, and that's working for you, even if you're sleeping, even if your car's out there in the whatever parking lot you're at, it's working for you. So again, kind of one of the things on here I wanted to go through too. The best strategy systems are those that work for you even when you are asleep. So that's one of those. That's a strategy that a lot of these internet ones do as well. So people see your ads even when people see your postings when you're asleep. And things like that. So Let's see, we went through bandit signs. Okay, call for rent signs. I think some people have tried that and have been successful. John O'Neill picked up a property that way just by calling us and say, hey, I see you're for rent, but I'm actually interested in buying your home. So that's something creative you can think about doing. Use Renalis iOS to retrieve various lists to market to. When it comes to if you want to be creative, they do have some various lists and things on here, that I have looked through. Another thing is you can host events at your house. Plug in your business at these events. And does somebody have a question? I think somebody just come off mute. Penny. Brought him off. Do you have any questions, or just kind of actually one off mute? Oh, hold a second. Can't hear you. Okay, I'll let you. For as long as I mean, okay, we'll keep it there. All right. So, boom. So let's go here. Okay, so if you do have a question, you can call back. Yeah, you can come back here, man. No worries. Okay, I didn't talk about that. So talk with community leaders. Oh my gosh. So one of the things that I've kind of done, and I've actually picked up a good lead, although it didn't end up turning into a purchase, was talking to the bishop of the ward that I'm a part of and say, hey, I'm a real estate investor, and I have a question for you. Do you know anybody, or if you know anybody that is in a situation, in a bad situation where they're going to lose their home or something like that, let them talk with me, because I've got some ways that they can go through and not lose their home. So that helps. That works out a lot. Okay, no worries, man. I got you. So yeah, so don't be afraid to even talk with even your bishop or your ecclesiastical leader, your religious leader, or whatever community leaders about what you do. HOAs, they've also got kind of the same issue where maybe somebody's not paying their HOA fees, and so that's saying that there's a problem with an owner that probably doesn't want to live there anymore. So why not see what they think about buying their property buying their property from them. So lots of different things here. We talked about that one. Host events at your house. One of the things that I've done at my house, this could be anything. You could just hold a barbecue and just invite all of your neighbors, your friends, and stuff like that, and just let them know, hey, I'm just hosting this, and here it is. By the way, this is what I do. I'm looking to help people. I'm here to help. If you know anybody, think of me. Give out your cards or whatever. If you have some books, give out books or whatever, and just enjoy. Let people enjoy. And you don't don't have a presentation, but that's definitely something that can do that. That helps you build rapport with your friends, because some people say that the best way into people's hearts is through their stomach. So that's a good way to kind of get out there, let people think about you. Create a website, and that's create your own website. Let people go in for real estate. Renalis iOS actually creates and has preset websites that you can make, or that they can put up for you. You just have to fill in the blanks, and then they'll take care of everything else for you and create content and everything for you. You can also think about going to live auctions, as well as going to auction websites. I've done that a little bit. Right now, we're not necessarily in the atmosphere that auctions will always work, although people are still picking up properties at auctions. So I'm not trying to write that off at all, but definitely, if that's something you're kind of interested in, I would absolutely say check it out. Expired MLS listings. If you guys know what those are properties that have either 3, sometimes 6 months. They've been on the market for too long, and nobody wants to pick, and they haven't sold it yet. And so most likely they are not necessarily in contract with their anymore. So you can actually contact them directly. Or if you want, you can contact the agent and say, hey, listen, Mr. Agent, I see you got an expired listing. I I'm a buyer, but I can't buy for that price, but I can buy for this price. And if you do, I'll try to make it still worth your while. Can you introduce me or whatever? But usually talking directly to the homeowner is good. Talking to the realtor is also good, because then also you create another advocate, a realtor that wants to bring you more deals if anything like that happens again. Old MLS listing, we're talking again, kind of like expired, except they're still with a realtor. That's something to think about as well. Anything that's been 90, 100 days, that person is starting to get a little bit itchy and wants to sell their property, starts to get into a little bit more of a need to sell as opposed to a want to sell, or willing to take less than what they're trying to sell it for. Going and setting up a booth at a trade show is another one that not many people have done. That's worked for some people. Kind of depends on what you're trying to do. This is kind of funny though. If you have billboards, sometimes every now and then you see a thing out there that says, "Hey, we'll buy your houses." Sometimes it has longer words, but there's blip ads. But billboards should be used to create your brand, not to try to really sell people. So the billboard should mainly try to make people to direct people to something different, like your phone number, your website. If you are trying to do more marketing in a way that kind of has a brand, you need to have a brand if you're going to be doing a billboard. You can't just put up and ask people to sign, because nobody's going to call you. I remember Christian telling me a story of somebody who put up a property, spent I think $10,000 on like a month or two of a billboard, and they got zero. Well, I think they got one phone call, but it was from like their partner or like a family member saying, "Hey, yeah, I see your thing out there." So be careful. Billboards are just for brand recognition, or should be used for brand recognition. And if you want to go into that, Adam Cloud, he's in our Renos community. If you see him, you can talk to him about what he's doing with that, because there's also a cheaper way to do it. Blip ads now with these yes cosigns where they switch all the time. That seems to be a thing that people are starting to do billboards again, because it's now a little bit more cost effective, and you've got like because you're sharing the billboard with other people or other businesses. Radio commercials, it's kind of fun. I've heard of some people do that. You create YouTube videos and direct people to your YouTube videos. You can even create your own YouTube channel and things like that, and people go to, because if people have questions about how to do real estate, why not? Or like how to help themselves in foreclosure or whatever. If you have YouTube videos and content on there, that you might get properties that way, as well as get people who are interested in doing real estate with you. TV commercials, newspaper ads are a few others. There is one lady who is in the Spanish community of Renatas who I saw one of her ads. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. And she says that ad that she has, I don't know if she puts it on like a local channel that has it, but she puts it on some mediums where people are she might even just has like a little commercial to kind of plug her in, that she just kind of forwards to her friends and says, "Hey, listen, if you look for properties, you look for this," and she kind of tells people and trains them how to give her properties, or how to send leads to her, and if she does, that she'll give them money or some things like that. Oh, I thought that was so creative. And guys, this is not an inclusive list. Like I said, it's still building. I just like how I just added 2 more as we were even talking here. But these are some ideas on here. So hopefully I gave you some ideas of what you can do outside of what the ordinary to look for properties. Again, some of these are you're using your time, you're making phone calls, you're driving, and some of these are you just put your name out there and let that thing continue putting your name out there and letting it work for you. I feel like both is needed, but you need to do everything. And again, the strategies here, the rule of 7 is that people need 7 touches before they decide to call. So even if you have a list that you're working on, 1 phone call is not enough. You need to work with them until they say no. And maybe even sometimes they say no, keep them on something so that maybe later in the future they'll say yes. But 7 is the rule here, the rule of 7. So keep that in mind as you are doing, as you are looking for real estate. And guys, the biggest thing is that you need to do is just to go out there and let people know. Go out there and let people know that you're looking for properties. I don't care who it is. With that one, that's kind of my training for today. But I'd like to see if anybody has any questions or what I can do to kind of help you guys in your business right now. Just give it a couple minutes here. If nobody has any questions, that's fine too.
Hey, team.
Hey, Sandra, how's it going?
Pretty good. Just what I've been working on is on NOD list, and I found that that was a little scary for me because I had to go. The way I use NODs is by door knocking.
Yeah.
And because the eye contact for me is very important, so I decided to face my fear, and that's what I did, and I did, and it worked. I found a duplex, and it got me to the point to negotiations and working with them and all that. So it's a deal that we're working right now on.
Oh, wonderful!
And not only
good job.
yeah, thank you. But that not only is that what I did is I had to face what fears me the most, and if that helps, pick one that fears you the most and work on it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to write that here. Face your fears. Because I'll tell you that even with me, I agree. When it comes to talking to people face to face that you don't know, it causes some anxiety. But it's the best strategy that you could do to find properties. And so thank you, Sandra, for sharing that with you. And that's awesome. And so you're working on negotiating that deal right now?
Well, we got it. I actually wholesale it, and we're gonna make a profit of $40,000.
Oh, wait, how much did you say?
40,000 for.
Oh my gosh, Sandra! Woo, that's awesome.
I know, it's awesome, and it's not only like that. It builds you the confidence. It's just right now. It's not about the money. It's just about all that I gain by doing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Wow, Sandra, congrats. That's
Thank
great.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for all you do too.
Yeah, right. Door knocking, that's seriously, even like whatever, when I was looking up, they say that's the biggest thing you do is talk to people face to face, especially talk to the people who are the right people. Get yourself in front of the right people. So you did exactly what you should have done.
Yes.
Thanks. Now, again, just to kind of let you guys know, you want to do 5 to 7 of these strategies that I outlined here. I put 5 because sometimes it's hard to keep up with all 7, but you want to get these going. If you just focus on one, if you focus on just one, that's, I don't want to say it's okay, but you need to hit that one hard all the time. You have to be consistent. You should be consistent on all of these, most definitely. But if you're going to do just one strategy, you need to be consistent. If you want to be the successful, what separates people from like $100,000 a year real estate investors to $1 million real estate investors are how many of these how many of these marketing or finding strategies they are doing. Because the more people that you can reach out, the more platforms that you put yourself out on, the more people have a ability to contact you and know that you're there. So keep that in mind, okay? All right, is there any other questions or any other thoughts that anybody has about what we've talked about today or related to it?
Great ideas, Tim. Appreciate everything. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping on, Ronnie. You're the first one on. Actually, sorry, Clint was the first one on here. Sorry about that. Okay, guys. Well, appreciate your all the time that you've sacrificed to be able to be on this phone call with me. And let's get out there and make a big difference in other people's lives, and ultimately reach the desired goals that we want to with our families, with our legacy in the future. Guys, happy to help. If you have any questions, reach me out on Facebook. Give me a call. I'm here for you. Okay. Take care.